Hello, hello, everybody. Dana is in a traffic jam. Let me see if I'm online. Yes, I see people online, so that's a good sign. It's a good sign. It's a good sign. Paul Logan, fix me, Dana. That's right. Yeah, that's kind of a. It's quite a shocker, right? If you expect Dana, and then suddenly you see this guy here. So Dana is in the traffic jam. She's in traffic. She called me, and I said, "Well, don't worry, I'm here." So I don't know what she starts with. I have no clue. I figure the best thing that we can do is just to start stretching, right? Nice and relaxed. Start stretching. So first of all, let's just start rotating our hips. I always like to do that. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. And this is a very easy exercise. So don't worry, Dana will be here within 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure. But this is so weird. People don't know how to drive anymore. Like 2 days ago, my buddy was coming to visit me. Same thing. I mean, there's less people on the road, but people make accidents. Because now they can drive again, and they get crazy. This one, just that, and leaning to the side. You feel your whole side pull over. I really like that one, especially because on the other side, where I'm going to lean to in a bit, I'm a little stiff. That's what I'm doing. Whoop, okay. To the other side, yeah, that's what I feel. Just start with this. We wait a couple of minutes till Dana comes, and then she will take over. Because I'm the guy who never really looked into this. I'm just stretching. All right, and the same thing as we normally do during the week as well. I like to hit 2 birds with 1 stone. I like to stretch my forearms while I'm stretching my hamstrings. Why not, right? Why not? When you head forward, really try to focus on this part and just let those muscles go. You'll notice that many times you still keep holding on somehow. I don't know why. But if you really focus on just letting it go, then you feel it all opening up. It's a big difference. It should be a big difference. Switch your head. Let's switch your head again. I'm pretty sure that when Dana comes in, she probably starts with rolling. But like I said, I'm an idiot. And switch head one more time. Alright. Okie dokie. Let's go just sit. These are, by the way, really nice. A buddy of mine designed this thing. Look, it's got curves. Very smart, right? Because you never see that. You see those one with the big lumps on them, and they're nice as well. But this one, look at this. You go through the spine. It's called Intelli Roll. Like intelligent, Intelli Roll. So, they come in different hardness and softness and all that stuff. Oh, this one, because again, I'm very selfish right now. My lower back is killing me. On the side, I don't know where it comes from. And this is always a great stretch for me to keep your feet away, like we do during the week as well, and just to pull forward. And again, once you start pulling, try to focus on your back muscles and to just let them go, let them relax, because many times you realize that you're not doing it. So for the new people, again, Dana is in a traffic jam. She will be here very shortly. So don't worry, you're not going to see my old butt the whole time. It's going to be just fine. All right. All right. Well, the shoulders, they're always tight with me, so why not? Let's roll those. I will tell Dana what we did, so when she comes in, then she's not going to repeat these. Well, maybe you won't, since it's only stretching today. I saw her coming. I saw her car, so she's close. Every time, wiggle a little bit further away from your hands with your butt. What a fight yesterday, right? UFC, were you guys watching? Pretty gnarly. Wow, freaking Justin Gaethje, he looked phenomenal. That was crazy. Boom, boom. And Gano, what was it, 20 seconds? Oh, maybe I should have said spoiler alert. I'm sorry. Spoiler! Spoiler alert. So if you don't want to listen, or don't want to know what happened yesterday, stop listening. Oh. Dominic Cruz. Oh, yeah, that was a shame. They stopped it early, but, he was not defending, right? He was still on the ground. I think he got hit with that knee. I think in his mind he thought he was standing up while he was doing it, but I don't think it was like that. There we have her. Here she comes to save the day.
Save the day.
Yeah.
Oh my
Stretch
God.
your shoulders one more time. You made it.
It took me 25 minutes to get here. It usually takes me 7 to 8.
Yeah.
They took everyone off the freeway at Hampshire.
Why would they do that? Was
I
it?
don't know.
Oh.
So everyone had to get off it. So we went from 4 lanes to all getting off the Hampshire.
Yeah, and people don't understand the zipping thing, right? Well, they do, but they still want to have, if just go one by one, then it will be perfect. But people don't do that. All the time they need to just be annoying and go in front of it. All right, what can we do more? What can we do more? Then you can help me out because I'm not a big stretcher yet. I have no clue what I'm doing.
Did you ask them if they have their balls?
Oh, do you? Does everybody have their balls? I love that question. Thank you for that. Yeah, that was a good question.
Yes.
So, especially guys, I hope you're having your balls. Oh, wait, stretching balls, rolling balls, rolling balls. Okay. I got one roller here, the Italian roll.
Yes, I like that one. I have that one at home too.
Yeah.
Situations. I was like, I haven't been in traffic for how long?
Yeah, for at least the last 7.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Over here.
I'm 2 exits away. Like, obviously, if I would have known, I didn't think I had to put on a time to get here from my house, but I could have taken side streets had I known that they're going to close the freeway off at the exit I need to do.
There
So,
she is.
happy Sunday, all you wonderful people. Sorry for the delay.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day, all you wonderful mothers.
I'm going to start writing my Mother's Day posts right now.
Nice.
To my mother, to my wife, of course, and then to my daughter.
Yes.
I did a baby.
Oh, yes, that's right. Your daughter in Holland.
Yes.
All right. How are you lovely people doing? Life situations. Let's take your one and start with the feet. Let me get my flexibility credit from my Apple Watch. Since I'm not exercising today, get some credit. Come closer just to say hi and see what you lovely people are saying. Still have no balls today, Scott? Seriously? How do you not have your balls ready? That's what she said? So you're pushing down on your foot, grasping it with your toes. I'm still out of frame. Oh, man. It was so weird to be in traffic again. It's been so long. Not that I miss that part of it. Definitely don't miss that. But I was just like, It became quickly apparent that we really weren't moving. And I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to make it there in time. Pushing down with your foot. Bas Rutten, save the day. Like, you know, when you do a long drive and you put on, we have an app here in the States called Waze, and it'll tell you like the shortest route to get there. But, you know, I'm not very far from the gym, so I don't generally do that just to drive here. Especially now in these days where there's less people on the streets, even, you know. Anyway, let's stretch your fingers back quickly. How's everybody's bodies feeling? Just saw Bas turn the day. Yep. Good morning, Wim. That was a good one. Hey, Tommy. Hi, Lawrence. I'm running in the up. Oh, that must have been a funny question, whatever Jimmy's saying. I'll have to go back and look. Hello. Hi, Khalid. Did you hear about my traffic story? Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Romania. Yay. Feel great. Awesome. 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 Stretch 2 fingers backwards at a time. We're also going to give some love to those forearms. It's been a little bit since we gave our forearms some release, but remember, because we spend so much time. Good evening. Time zone isn't in your favor. Oh, yeah. Time zone things are real. Since we spend a lot of time in this position, it's really good to bring our fingers back and wrists, obviously, in the opposite position. We're going to use our knee to get into our forearm. We've done this before. One of my forearms earlier in the week was pretty tight. I think it was righty. So if you have the flexibility to do this, we're going to get our kneecap on our forearm and give that a little bit of a release, a little bit out of frame. Let me just go, since we are going to be spending a fair amount of time on the ground, my big old hand. Oh, let me just angle it down there a little bit. Okay. So let's get that kneecap on that forearm. It gets in there pretty good. Notice it makes your fingers move because it's getting those flexor tendons. It's kind of funny when that happens. So tell me on your guys' Saturdays, yesterday, let's do other side. After the Q&A, what do you guys do for the rest of the day? Do you guys do, like exercise-wise, do you do a different like strength training workout? Do you do a workout from earlier in the week? Or do you take an extra rest day? Yesterday, I actually ended up mostly taking an extra rest day. I did a little bit of movement with a couple FaceTime clients, and then I did a little bit of kettlebell halos after that, just because I want this shoulder to make sure that it's still improving and still staying strengthened. I do still have a little bit of pain in it. Okay, good. Take your wrist. But yeah, I was just feeling like I think 3 weeks ago was when I also took 2 days off, and yeah, I was like, I don't want to run myself down too much. I had a heavy leg day on Friday with a friend, and then my right hamstring that loves to act up, that was doing so well, started acting up again. So I was like, okay, maybe that's also a sign to take a little bit of extra rest. Okay, some things I would love everyone to get into a little stretching routine before you even get out of bed. This was one thing that my physical therapist, he's like, you're gonna do this before you exit the bed, and ideally when you lay down to go to sleep too, every day for the rest of your life. So ingraining things, most of what we do, we are our habits, right? So if we can get into a little habit, maybe
hit snooze, and then you go through a little bit of a stretching routine, and there is, whatever, however long, 5 to 9 minutes of stretching. So easy to do because you're already laying down. Put your legs to one side, and your arms, it's kind of like opening a book. So we're going to keep our legs in one direction, and you're going to open as far as you can. If you can touch the other side, let me come this way. Cool. If you cannot, don't force it, especially first thing in the morning when, we haven't been moving yet. So again, just giving you guys different angles. And let's do 10. I feel this to me, like I can still feel it even though I already did these this morning. Really good stretch in the back. Like I feel it a lot in the low back in a good way. And trying to open up the pecs as well. Do these nice and slow. And you can add some good breath work in while you're doing it. I would do a nice slow inhale as you're opening up, and then exhale as you're closing. You kind of feel what makes sense with the breath. And it's an interesting question that I get asked a lot with training, like where do I breathe? And I do, let's go the other direction. And I do like to cue how to breathe so that it helps you. Generally, you're exhaling on the more difficult part of the exercise. And a lot of people are like, why do I always want to do it backwards? So it's interesting, but like you kind of feel that as you're opening up your chest, it's going to feel natural to want to expand it and inhale at the same time and exhale, release the air as you're closing your chest with coming back to start. So 10 of these each side is what I was prescribed for life. And for the rest of my life with my physical therapist. And I think it's easy, it's fast, even if you only do that. But another thing to potentially add to this would be to bring your arm, I call this goalpost arms. So if you have them both together, look like a little goalpost. Staying on one side, goalpost arms. You should do some little sort of arcing motions coming up towards the top of your head. And that could also mimic a downward elbow, couldn't it? Just be careful not to come. See, illegal. 12 o'clock, it's the 12 o'clock illegal. Come to the other side. You could practice some of your jits moves. I'm here too, except you're in bed, so you're just rolling over from side to side. If we're doing this first thing in the morning. Just getting that body moving, obviously after laying all night. And if you can do a few things before you even exit the bed, then that's perfect. You've already started by moving. Also another thing, I think I talked about this before. It was also recommended whenever you're getting up or exiting the bed or something, push and help yourself up so that you're not doing a lot of neck strain. And a lot of us will lead things with our neck, and we're gonna hit some extra stuff with the neck today. So being nice to our neck. If you're getting up from a straight on position, helping your head with some light fingertips. So I'm not pulling and cranking on it, but helping a little bit. When you get up, come to the side, push yourself up. We do enough stuff to our bodies with martial arts, don't we? That we want to undo some of that because we're very high intense, high impact. So we want to be nice too. Oh, one more thing before you get up and out. Forgot about this one. You can do some figure four, crossing the ankle over one knee, and just bringing, I feel, again, in the low back, just bringing the knees / legs from side to side. But if I had to pick, like all of us have time just to do the sideline book openers, 10 and 10 each side, like there's switch sides with the figure four. We all have time for that. I mean, it literally takes less than 60 seconds. And at least it's something to get to get moving, and then hopefully you still will, like how Bas has talked about, and I've talked about, hopefully you'll still also put into your morning routine, you know, whether it's when the tea is brewing, when the coffee is brewing, doing 15 to 20 minutes of some sort of mobility routine. Feel what your body needs. Give your body some sort of movement. Rolling, foam rollers. They're all great tools. I love foam rollers too. I love this one, and I love the other long ones that you can lay on and do things on, as far as opening up, chest opening up, and also do core work laying on the long ones too. Those are really cool. Let's do a little bit of neck stretches, and then we're going to use, if you have your balls, I'm going to use those. Neck stretches. This can also be before you exit the bed. You could be sitting on the edge. I like to just bring one arm gently behind and gently feel like you are elongating your neck. So I'm not just crunching down where my shoulder's right next to my ear. That's not really stretching. Feel like you're first bringing your head up away from your body and then gently coming over. So there's a little more space between the shoulder and the ear as you're stretching with an elongated neck, making yourself tall. And then just do some nice breathing here. I also want to try to show you guys how to get into the diaphragm. Let's switch with your hands and your fingers. Remember, make your first pull up from the top of your head and then gently come over to the side. I'll show you guys how to try to get into underneath your rib cage and release your diaphragm. O2 trainer is working, teaching the diaphragm how to move, which is awesome. And then this can tie into that, trying to manually. It's crazy. You can feel if one side feels tighter than the other. Take these. If you guys don't have these, try to find something. Or even if you have a foam block, that's probably a little less common than two of these. But something. Oh, I still don't know which would be a great substitute, because you need something that's firm, but not like, not like a brick. We're putting this, the center of our head, where you would grab someone in the clinch. That's where we're starting. And you may have to hold them there because they might slip. Shake your head. No. Go to end range and hold the end range there for a second. Move down a little bit. Same thing. But yeah, so it can't be anything too crazy. like a brick, that's way too extreme. I mean, the foam roller, that works, like this IntelliRoll with the bridges in the middle, works great for this too, using the center part of it. Move down a little bit more. But hopefully most people, I think, Tommy, you said you don't have yours with you, have either made the two tennis balls duct taped together, lacrosse balls, even a little bit better. These ones that I have, I love this set. And now we're coming down to, and if you only have one, that works too. You can just do one side at a time. So we're coming into this suboccipital area where we kind of want them right here. And if you only have one, then you're just doing one at a time. We're gonna work on relieving if there's a little bit of neck tension, which is a common scenario too. There's a lot of common areas that have tension, right? We all feel them. I feel it in my neck, in my low back, my right hamstring, upper back. So same thing. You're going through saying no. Hold in this area. I like to hold it even longer. Just hold that end range, and while you're at that end range, you can move your head up and down and just massage that area. Like this is a big spot for a lot of people. Come to the other side. And one at a time works perfectly fine for this. I forgot what I was saying. I think I was going somewhere with something. I'll find it again. Come to center and do some chin nods as well. With our fighting stance and computer work, device work. I know I'm on my devices a lot more than I used to be. Trying to remind myself to undo any of that posture as much as possible. Take the balls away for a second, and without them, we want to do some chin tucks. And I also want to talk about, I want to talk about where your head might be living in space when you're walking. So staying mostly straight, chest is staying open. Lift your head ever so slightly and tuck down to your chin and come up. Tuck down, come up, and now leave your head totally on the ground and do that same thing. Try to go through full range. Our poor neck fusion people are going to have less range, but keep this nice and slow. Okay, and now start going with your balls down your back. We've done this before because I want to talk to you while you guys are doing this. Starting kind of right here. Come down slowly, working out any tensions there. And remember, you can do lateral side-to-side movement. You can move the arms, especially if you're on a knot. I've been working on a knot inside my right scapula. And then slowly move your way down. Well, I'm going to talk to you about, since I lost a little bit of time with the traffic stuff, I'm going to talk to you about your where your head is living in space. So keep doing that for me. When you're walking around, if you're ever passing, if you're passing by a mirror or something, I use that a lot because it's a good time to see, where is my pelvis living in space, but also where is your head living in space? That sounds funny, huh? Where's your head living? Hopefully close to your body. So we tend to, because of how our life is, we're looking at screens, so we're leaning forward. We're looking at our device, so we're like this, especially if your eyesight's going a little bit. So we get used to our head being forward of our body, and it may not look like much, but for all these little fine awesome muscles in the neck, that's a lot of weight to hold away from your body. So if we're chicken heading, that is not where we want our head to live. Imagine, you guys all know, if I pick up a 10-pound dumbbell and I hold it here, I can hold it here all day, very strong. If I bring it out here, it gets exponentially heavier because it's further away from my center of mass. So if we're walking around a fair amount of the day with our head in this position, it's putting tremendous strain on these neck muscles to try to hold that weight out there. Remember Jerry Maguire, what did he say? The human head weighs 8 pounds in his cute little lispy thing. So try to make sure that your chin is living where it's more over your clavicle or your chest. So be aware of that, check that, and let's try to start relieving some tension if our head might be too far in front of us. Okay, hopefully you guys have made it down here with your 2 balls on your back. Let's see what it feels like to get them in the low back. This doesn't feel good to everyone, and if it's, I think most of us know the difference between, a good pain and maybe, relieving a tight muscle type discomfort. But let's try, and again, if you only have one, that's totally fine. Let's try to get these in this low back area and see how that feels to you guys. Laying down on the ground. It's depending on if, how tight you are, how, the degree of which you want to get in there. Like this set that I love, there's a size that's a little bit bigger, and then there's the single ones that are even bigger. For me personally, I really want to get in there and release that sucker. So I like the size that's a little bit bigger. But other ways, if you only have one size, that's like the tennis ball or lacrosse ball size. Other ways to try to get in there. So I'm angled a little bit so that it's in that low back area. You can bring the knee to your chest. You can rock around side to side. Pretty much any way you need to move to get in there a little bit more, just play around with that. One of the other common tightnesses on my body is this spot, this left low back, and I think it's the QL muscle is what I think loves to get tight. And it's interesting that it's the left low back and the right hamstring on my body. There are so many cross patterns in the body that things like that might seem unrelated probably aren't. Let's go to the other side, because everything is connected. Almost anything can be affecting almost anything. You could have right shoulder pain from a left ankle problem. Like that stuff's fascinating to me. I could read and learn about that stuff all day long. It's so cool, and there's so much of it. So let me know in the comments. I'll go back and look through. Let me know if you guys can feel that into your low back and how it feels. Another spot that's very common, that's very commonly tight, is kind of below the armpit, a little bit angled to your back. So not on the front, more on the back. This area can tend to be very tight too, and I am going to be a little more on the side for this. Try to relax your neck so it's not getting strained, and I will move my body weight forward and back, as well as sometimes hold here with one hand and then move the down arm a little bit. Get around there quickly. Other side, this is not too bad today. Usually it's pretty darn tight, but not too bad. Let's go to the other side. And then we're going to go to some legs. And if there's differences between, from one side to the next, totally normal. Almost always, let's say very frequently, there's going to be there's asymmetries in the body. Almost no one is totally symmetrical. That would be cool if my strongest side, if my strong side could catch up to my stronger side, that would be amazing. And do mind things like that with yourself. Like, instead of saying, oh, my left leg is my weak leg, it's still strong. You guys are all strong. Maybe one side is stronger. So instead of calling one weak and one bad and one good, because I still do that too. I'm like, it's my bad leg. And I'm like, no, stop. Don't feed that to your mind, because our body, it hears how we talk to it, how we're approaching things, all of that stuff. It sounds woo-woo and out there, but it's really true. Let's take these one more time, and let's roll down our quads. I don't know that we've used them on our quads yet, but you can use them almost anywhere. And with the quads, you're rolling. Also, you can come side to side And you can also hold a spot. If there's a spot that's really tight or tender, I like to flex and extend the knee to get into that area just a little bit differently. And it's about being creative. There's a book that goes along with this set called the Roll Model, ROLL, for like rolling on a ball, as opposed to ROLE. And she has very systematic ways of rolling, but she also says get creative with it. So there are certain techniques like shearing and stripping the muscle, things like that. But just whatever way you can get into a tightness, just go with it and learn what serves your body well and what helps you to start doing self-release. I was talking to Melissa on Friday, and we were like, oh man, when our massage place is going to open, it's like, this is what we have for now. For the most part, is what we can do for ourselves. And just try to do the best you can. So get into those quads, hamstrings like we've done before. You kind of want to be seated for the hamstrings. I'm not going to do the hamstrings right now because we're going to do them with something else. I want to talk about box breathing and diaphragm release. I'm going to see if I'm going to do that first, and then we're going to go into some hip flexor, another little hip flexor series. So box breathing, I love 4-7-8 breathing. We've talked about that one. 4-7-8 is inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7 counts, exhale for 8 counts. Box breathing is 4-4-4. So inhaling for 4, hold for 4, exhaling for 4. So just another method. Almost any sort of deep breathing, especially the ones, box breathing obviously is not this, but especially the ones where the exhale is longer than the inhale. You're stimulating that parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest nervous system, where it's telling your body to calm. And you're combating cortisol. So we already, all of us, most of us, I cannot blanket statement, spend enough time in the fight or flight sympathetic nervous system. So stimulating the parasympathetic, really, really important to play with that too, so that you can combat cortisol. You can reach your goals of, whatever you want, whether it be weight loss, muscle gain, all of that. It all helps together, relieve stress, relieve anxiety, all of it. So let's belly breathe. Let's do just 2 rounds of the box breathing, just so you can feel what it feels like, because I want to get into that diaphragm and release that too. So doing your belly breathing, remember we want to inhale, fill up your abdomen as much as you can into your hands. We're going to inhale 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds. And on that exhale, you're trying to hollow out as much as you can in that 4 seconds. So let's do 2 rounds of box breathing. I'll use my fingers to help count. Ready? Inhale. Inhale. I didn't know how to count the first round. That was funny. I'm all like, wait, what am I on? Can I count to 4? So the diaphragm lives very far up under our ribs. That is a very thin muscle that separates our chest cavity, where our lungs are, from where our lungs and our heart are, from our abdominal cavity where all of our guts are. And the diaphragm, because a lot of people don't take deep breaths, not our people here, because you guys are using OT trainers and doing all this fantastic exercise, so you guys know. So go out and teach this to the other people. When the diaphragm doesn't move, a lot of the same things happen. I was talking about with breathing, stress, anxiety, cortisol, all of that sort of stuff. But it also can actually cause problems functionally because it's another muscle that's attached to stuff. So this muscle being tight, this diaphragm muscle being tight or restricted or not moving, can affect lots of other things in your body, close or far, because it's all connected. So if you can, what you're trying to do is trying to reach up under that rib cage with your fingers. I prefer to do this laying down, and I know it's a little hard to see with the black shirt, but see if you can get underneath those ribs and just kind of poke in there. My physical therapist used to do this to me sometimes too, and it would hurt so bad because it was so tight, and oh my God, it was so bad. Scott can't do that. I know it might be, or you might be referring to something else too. Left hip is a little lower than my right. Oh, that's an interesting one. I have lots of ideas on that. I am not a mom, but thank you. I'm just a mom to furry ones. Quad rolling was much needed. Awesome. So we're trying to release and push in up under your ribs, and just go as far as you can with this. Let's do a little bit on the left, a little bit on the right, and then we're going to move on to our hip flexor stuff. So laying down, so you're not creating any tension in your abs, of course, and try to just poke up under, deep inside of that rib cage, and you're just kind of pressing. You may or may not actually feel the muscle, but if it hurts, because it shouldn't hurt. Just like when someone is, like if you're getting a massage or whatever, and they're pressing along, the muscles along the spine, switch the other side, those paralumbar muscles, you can feel it, but it shouldn't like hurt in a bad way. If it hurts where you're like, ow, then it's probably tight, and just kind of slowly try to keep pressing up under there with your fingers. My right side tends to be tighter than my left. So that's a way to do a manual diaphragm release. Okay, let's come up into half kneeling. And you guys know how good, I'm going to come sideways, how good the half kneeling hip flexor stretches are. Let's do a little bit of a flowy one here, kind of like I think it was last week where I did kind of a flowy one. Okay, remembering that the leg that is down, we are tucking our pelvis underneath. So if we are an animal, we're tucking our tail underneath. We can utilize this anterior pelvic tilt when we want to, but for now, tucking it underneath. Let's have the same side arm going overhead so we get that entire fascial line to stretch, and just feel like you're reaching towards the ceiling with your fingertips and really stretch that out. Also, squeeze this glute. No phone call. No, go away. Oh, I can stop it right there. Look at that. Look at that. How technologically advanced am I? Squeeze this glute, stretch overhead. Sometimes I just like to amuse myself. Well, I'll tell you something I really like to do. Let's get some frontal plane motion. We often do the sagittal plane forward and back. Today I'm just going to do frontal plane side to side. This arm can be wherever. Try not to brace yourself. Try to make your body do that. Let's come side to side, or it can be here, or it can be here in fighting stance. Just kidding. Not really. I'm really not. Okay, now let's open a little bit differently with the rotation. Let's come here. Now you will be using this hand a little bit to open up. Come back here. It's like my low back. Can't get enough of these nice spinal stretches. Now let's come back. Hamstring. I'm going to turn around again. Okay, straightening this leg. Let's kind of be a little more dynamic with this one. You can also be up here, but to me that's a little more work. Like I can feel work in the quad, and I don't want to really make it work today. I want everything to know it can relax today. So, but if, for example, say before a leg day or whatever, or when you do some lower body stuff, even before class, if you want to get some dynamic movement, but you also want to get a little bit of work in there, then I would maybe incorporate that. Because like I can feel here that my quad has to do more work when my knee is lifted. So different ways to play with it. Feel this hamstring. And now we're going to get a little bit into the ankle. So either bring this foot forward or either one come sitting down and forcing this ankle to, it's called dorsiflexion. Keeping your heel on the ground. I'm going to try to move my knee so it's not blocking. Come forward here, but it feels more comfortable if your knee is here. I will come facing the other way, and I'm actually going to move this one pointing down. Oh, that's who was calling. Got it. Point down a little bit. Okay. Okay. So we're getting, remember we did a fair amount with the foot and ankle complex last week. Another way to get this ankle stretched out. And if your heel starts rising, that means you're going too far. So just stay where your heel is on the ground, and you can also add some gentle rocking motion into this. But if you can come as far, the goal would be, we want things mobile. So the goal would be to kind of come as far forward as you can. Now from here, we're going to get inner thigh stretch. So keeping that foot in that position. Let's come, actually, I want to come down on the knee of this one this time. Let's get movement into here, trying to keep that back flat. So if I'm sideways to you here, back is not here, and it's not here. That would be shoulders next to ears, chest caved in. Just try to keep that back flat so chest stays nice and open. And let's gently just rock to get the inner thigh. Technical term for those muscle group are adductors. What is the foot on the ground doing? I'm trying to keep it flat, but if you need to go on your side, that's cool. It's not the end of the world. I'm trying to keep it flat because it also is still stretching out that ankle in like a transverse plane. From here, let's come to the other side, and we'll do that stuff in reverse order. See how this is interesting, and I always notice this. When I came to this side, we already put the knee on the ground. This ankle, the one that I have to release the subtalar joint every day, naturally, this ankle has a little bit less range, not for any particular reason that I'm aware of, but when I come up to the ball of this foot, this heel wants to pop up, whereas on the other side, it's much more easy for me to keep it down. So start noticing things like that. I can then force it down, but the ankle definitely has less range. I have not released my subtalar joint this morning because I usually do it before we start recording with you guys. And I sat on the freeway for 25 minutes today. So I will do it afterwards though. So feel these adductors, foot, if you can get it as flat on the floor, especially since we already kind of stretched that ankle. Try for that. If not, just go where it feels good. Movement in here. Okay, let's spin around. And I'm going to come this way. So let's put that ankle into dorsiflexion first. And here I am rounding my back a little bit because I actually can feel a little bit more of a low back stretch as I'm just holding this. So I'm not as worried about having a flat back here because I'm also just getting kind of like a full back little mild stretch as well. And you may be able to go further with one ankle versus the other. That's totally normal. Try to keep that heel on the ground. Otherwise, we're not stretching it more if I'm just raising the heel up. Okay, now come back. Let's come back to half kneeling and get that hip flexor. Let's do this one moving as well. Now, I do like to go back to a flat back here, so I'm aware of what my posture is doing as we're doing this. And again, it's not, it's not like, oh, never round your back. Obviously, no, that's not the case at all. Very, spend time like knowing where your body is in space. Having that connection, feeling what's happening, and if something's moving dysfunctionally, being aware of it, and then trying to correct it, and or looking at what could be the source of this. Okay, now let's come up into that half kneeling. Hip flexor. Same side. I'm gonna come face you guys. Leg bends down. Tuck. Squeeze. Arm goes up overhead. Just hold that there for a sec. When you squeeze the glute, you should feel the stretch really go into that hip flexor. You'll feel probably some in the quad too. I can feel some in the quad as well, but we're really trying to target the hip flexors here. Now let's add that lateral movement in, keeping that glute squeezed. Left low back. If this, I could like hold this for so long. It feels so good. Okay, now the rotation. Ooh, did you see that little loss of balance? Actually, that's where this arm helps come into play. A little bit harder for me to keep the glute squeezed with the rotation, but still try to keep it squeezed because we're still stretching the hip flexor, even though we're moving our back too, but we're getting some dynamic movement in with it. So that's really cool as you're holding one thing in a static stretch, but yet you're moving or you have a driver in another part of your body. That's a really cool phenomenon to put those two things together. Okay, we did that. Let's go into our 90-90. Where am I at? 51. Okay, let's come down to our 90-90 for hips. Hips, I believe, are a common one for a lot of us, and for me as well. I still, even though it's gotten better, I still have tight hips. So one front leg is at a 90 degree, rear leg is at a 90 degree. And let's gently lean over the front leg thigh. Here we are trying to keep a flat back again, so shoulders are away from the ears. And play with, like, even in this position, like I felt my head coming forward. So I was like, oh. So try to feel if the Jerry Maguire thing, let's call it the Jerry Maguire thing, is happening. So I felt that, and I'm going to come to the side so you guys can kind of see what I was talking about. I felt my head, my back was flat, but I felt my head coming out here. And it was like, oh no, that's not, no. You just talked about that. So our bodies do some crazy stuff, and I am not above it either. There's still so many things I want to get to. Now, let's just face the rear leg. Like the fact that this knee pops up when I come to face the rear leg. Ideally, it should be able to stay down closer towards the ground, and that's where my body needs to get to. It should, like, I can push it down. Ooh, I can totally feel that in my left low back. But as soon as I turn and we're getting the rear leg, rear hip internal rotation, this knee totally pops up. So little things like that still show me I still have a fair amount of tightness in or around the hip. It doesn't even have to be only the hips problem. Like I think part of it is this left low back, and really missing my physiotherapist. Like I really want to check in with him. Okay, let's just switch these legs over to the other side. But in time, I'll get to check in with him again. Okay, bringing our torso over the front leg, keeping No Jerry Maguire's. Has everyone seen Jerry Maguire? Hopefully. So the reference that I just decided made sense. At least makes a little bit of sense. I totally like calling, like I'm totally into calling it that. I just amuse myself sometimes. Oh, here's a funny story. Okay. Here's one thing where I really, really do amuse/impress myself. Okay, come up and angle towards the rear leg, and there goes the knee. Look at that sucker. I'm like, good. Turn, bam! Like, who told you to come all the way up there? Seriously. So at least both sides do it, right? I guess there's that, even in that sense. And we're just holding this rotation towards the rear leg, stretching out some of the hip capsule. Okay, so here's an area where I really impress myself. When I'm measuring my my food, when I'm weighing it, so generally I eat 4 ounces of protein at a time, like that's, and 5 ounces of carbs at a time, and then vegetables I just throw a whole bunch on there. When I like say like I whatever cut off a piece of the chicken or whatever, or throw some sweet potatoes on there. When I'm like looking at it, eyeballing it, and I put it on there, if it's almost the exact amount, seriously, this is what I'm not even kidding you. So I put it on there, I'm measuring it, and I go, and I look around like did everybody see that? Not even kidding, because I'm like so impressed with myself. And it's the tiniest, dumbest thing. But let's go into child's pose. But I crack myself up. All of our little habits. In our child's pose, let's have our thumbs up. So we're going to come down to the ground. So hopefully now you guys really think I'm cool too, because I can sometimes, after years of weighing stuff, so it's actually really not that impressive, because I should be spot on every time. But sometimes I get close. Hold this stretch. If you can be totally down on the tops of your feet, cool. If not, if that's too much, because now our ankles are going in the opposite direction, this is called plantar flexion. If something is prohibiting that, then just be on the balls of your feet. Or it's really kind of more on the toes than where we are. And it also gives a good toe stretch. So it's not wrong to have your feet in different positions, because here you get that nice toe stretch too that we worked on those last week. And feel like you're reaching your arms forward. So like we want our muscles to stretch out. So don't just, I wouldn't recommend just coming into this and just laying here. You're not going to feel nearly as much as if you feel like you're reaching your arms forward, or what feels fantastic is when someone can pull on your arms. Oh, that feels so good. Even when you're just laying down flat, feel that with each other, like spouses or whatever, kids. Kid probably can't stretch out a big, let's come to one side. Probably can't stretch out a big father too well, or mother, even just their small body size, but hold that side with the child's pose to the left. If you're just laying down like this, relaxing your body and having someone gently pull, like usually we'll kind of clasp wrists, gently pull on your arms and or your legs also. Oh my gosh, the back, it's like almost like an inversion. So your back just totally gets, so just that release on your back, arms, and then sometimes I'll do one arm at a time, and then legs. Oh, feels so good. Let's go child's pose, other direction. Nice, thumbs up still. And when you're coming off to the side of the child's pose, you just feel a little bit more down the side of the body, obviously. Should feel it all the way from your shoulders to your lats, to your low back, and then even the outside of the hip. So if all of that, if there's not a huge area of tightness, if you can feel it traveling all the way down, then that's actually a really good sign that there's not a blockage there. And by blockage, I mean an area where a muscle's so tight that you can't feel the fascial lines connected, and you can't feel it going through the whole side of the body. You want to be able to feel that. Let's come, I want to show you shoulder flossing. Let's come to the wall quickly to do a little bit of pecs.
And that'll probably be our last thing. And I so apologize to you guys about the traffic issue. But let's see, on that wall has all the stretches. You have a damaged nerve. You're on. Thank you. You're on. I would love to try to get some more information about that damaged nerve. You are on YouTube. If you have any way of putting some comments in the Facebook, on my page, Empowered by Dana, you are Mr. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. Mr. Teo? I'm probably saying that wrong. I would love to try to give you some feedback on that. I don't obviously know everything, obviously, but I would love to try to give you some feedback on the damaged nerves because that's sad. Hand on the wall, tall. I'm a little bit kind of sideways to the wall so I can get these pecs open. It's 11. Tucking your pelvis, tucking and releasing. Let's just get some pelvic movement in here. We're going to do one side, and then you guys are going to finish the other side for me. Promise that you finish. Please promise that you finish. And another one off of here, or similar to this. Get close to the wall, but don't touch it. Tall, nice and tall. The leg that's nearest to the wall, that foot is going to be forward. And then from here, let's get some rotational movement by bringing your arm right along the wall and then following it all the way around, making a circle. And you can either keep going all in one direction, or I like to just reverse and come around, back around. So you're trying, the goal actually is to try to keep your hips pointing forward. Failed to mention that in the beginning. So while it's not wrong to come all the way here, if that were my intention, I want to make sure that your low back and your thoracic spine can rotate because, of course, that's so important to us as mixed martial artists. So I'm trying to keep my pelvis totally pointing forward. And if you're not sure, a little trick is to grasp on to the side of your hip here. And you'll feel, if you start turning, you'll kind of feel your hand come with you. So hold here and see if hips can stay pointed forward. So if we can do that rotation just from our upper half of our torso, basically from our low back and thoracic spine. And of course, there's a lot of chest and shoulder stuff working there too. So thankful for all of you. Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. Awesome, Alex. I'm glad you like the diaphragm thing. It's funky, but it's cool. You guys are very welcome. If you have any specific questions, I would be happy to answer questions. If you can send them to either reply to the Facebook stream here. For whatever reason, it's really hard to see to get into the questions on YouTube, or in my Facebook Messenger, Empowered by Dana. I do love to answer questions. You're welcome, Colleen. You're welcome, Paul. So I'll try to help as much as I can, and I will see you guys. Happy Fur Baby Mother's Day to the people. Thank you to the people that only have fur babies like me. I will see you guys here tomorrow at 10 o'clock for another workout and another week. Woo! We're going to be starting week 8. Woo! All right. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks for joining. Bye, Brian. Bye, Tommy. Tommy, I hope it worked out okay without having your balls. That's funny. Sergio, you're welcome. Bye, Mr. Teo. If you can send me something in Facebook, let me know about your nerve damage. I would love to see if I can offer possibly any suggestions with that. And I may not, but I would love to try because my medical mind loves stuff like that. I think it's fascinating. Okay. Bye, you guys.